going to start just me talking and then come to you in a second.
I trust you.
All right. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to One Drink With ... We will reveal our special guest in just a few minutes, but first, I wanted to talk about the fact that One Drink With has now been moved to this platform, the Cocktail Network Live platform, here on YouTube and cocktailnetworklive.com/live. And this program, or this platform, is a platform dedicated to bartenders and those in the industry that want to learn more from smart people that love the industry too. And speaking of smart people that love the industry too, let me bring in the co-creator of Cocktail Network Live, Mr. Rob Husted. There he is.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Dean and I, this has been a labor of love for months and months and months, and it's great seeing every little piece starting to come together and really put a great product together, and hopefully some informational tools and entertaining tools for you to use as well.
Yeah, Rob and I have been talking about this Cocktail Network Live, and then my girlfriend Allison helped us kind of piece it together or come up with some of the ideas for it. We have a live program coming up in February 26th, right, Rob, for the King of the South?
February 22nd, 2222222.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, 022. February 22nd, 2022. King of the South, which will be broadcast from Atlanta. Aaron Pierce is posting a competition down in Atlanta, so we've got all kinds of great bartenders. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be doing this live. Rob will be there. And we did a broadcast live last week, which you can also see on Cocktail Network Live, the YouTube channel. You want to tell us about that, Rob?
Yeah, it was a great event. A good flair bartending family up in Ohio came home a few days after New Year's, and they came home and their house was on fire. They had just what they had on their backs and their clothes they were wearing, their daughter in their car. And yeah, they had insurance, but all that stuff takes time to go through and all that stuff takes time to replace. So I think I first heard it from Mo Harris in a group chat, like, hey, this happened. What can we do for these folks? And Dean and I were talking like, yeah, we can donate money to GoFundMe, but we can do something better than that. So we put our heads together, and in a matter of 3 weeks, we pulled off an amazing online charity fundraiser, almost like a telethon, if you will, like the Jerry Lewis days. With over 14 bartenders across the nation, from America to Canada to Tokyo to Nepal, all coming together, putting on choreographed routine shows. Thanks to our friends from Aviation Gin and Finest Call. And then people that were entertained and watching, they're able to donate with using the QR code. And I think we're close to $7,000 right now. Last I checked, and we're going for 10, so we're almost there, Dean.
Almost there. Yeah, we're at 7 now. I haven't checked in the last couple of days. So, ladies and gentlemen, please go to our YouTube channel and watch your favorite bartender. We have Phil Wills and Tom Dyer, Raul Bartenders there, Zach Prohaska, lots of big names. Go over to the channel. There's a QR code. Scan it with your phone, and it'll take you directly to GoFundMe. Put in $20. Put in $100. Whatever you can afford. Let's get Shea Court and Thomas Ivy back on solid ground. All right? So thank you very much. And that's really what this program and this platform, Cocktail Network Live, is all about, bringing forth just the community and making sure that we're all sticking together in these days. So, One Drink With is a show that I did on my YouTube channel, my Dean Cernil's YouTube channel, and Rob and I got talking and thought this would be a perfect platform for One Drink With. So let's get to One Drink With. Ladies and gentlemen, a very, very special guest and a very special announcement coming out today, so don't go away. But first, let me introduce you to our guest.
Hey guys.
Hey!
It's good to be here.
Hello, Deborah Richards. How are you?
I'm doing great. I don't often get out much, so I don't get to drink much these days. So this is a rare joy to be having a drink with some old friends.
Yes. Well, I apologize. I was supposed to be with Deborah tonight at her condo and broadcasting live together, but that didn't work out tonight. So I have a glass. I've just got a glass of wine with me today for our one drink with Deborah Richards. Rob, what are you drinking tonight?
It's my go-to. Just a chocolate old fashioned with Old Forester and Master Mixes simple syrup and some chocolate bitters.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Little Old Forest. So that's a chocolate old fashioned then.
Yeah. Yeah, I know
That's
you and
my
I share that same affection for it.
It's my favorite. I do it with agave nectar instead of simple syrup. Primo. Great.
It's addicting.
It is. It is. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is Deborah Richards. Deborah Richards, we'll get into your story. We had a fabulous conversation last 2 weeks ago, I guess. We had like a pre-call just to touch base again, and we were on the phone for 3 hours catching up about all flare times.
There was a lot of catching up to do. It's been a long time since we got into it.
Yeah, it sure has. I think the last time I saw you was at the Rio Bar in Las Vegas.
Oh wow.
And then it was an after party for Legends, and there was probably 50 of us flair bartenders and organizers. So
It must have been 10 years ago, or
at least, yeah, at
at
least.
least.
I think that the last Legends I was at was Legends 10 on my 40th birthday, and that was 12 years ago. So yeah, it's been some time.
Sometimes water under the bridge.
Right. So, Deborah, you were a big part of bringing flair to Vegas, right? I learned a lot of stuff in our conversation. You brought some flair to Vegas.
Yeah, well, let's see. Back in 19, a long time ago, um, basically when Flair hit Vegas, Vegas is the kind of town that whatever one casino does, the next casino copies that, and so on until they all have the same thing. So
Right.
the Shadow Bar kicked off. Sorry, what am I saying? Voodoo Lounge kicked off in Las Vegas with Eric Holbert and Ken Hall and Alan Mays, and that was pretty successful. So straight away, Caesar's Palace wanted that,
So that
and
was
so
the
they
first one.
made
Voodoo Bar or Voodoo Lounge was the very
yeah,
first flair bar in Las Vegas.
yeah,
All right.
and then there were. In fact, I flew in one year to go to Legends for the first time, and the night that I went to Voodoo Lounge, that night I met Ken Hall for the first time, Alan Mays for the first time,
Wow.
Mindigus for the first time, and then I went back to Florida. But not long after that, Caesar's Palace wanted to open up Shadow Bar, and so I came out for the auditions for Shadow Bar, and at that auditions were Mike Tang, Flippy Morris, Kristen Delpesh, Juan Lorente,
Wow.
um,
Huge
and
names. Huge names in the industry now.
right. And so we all auditioned, and I went back to Florida that night. And the next day, I got a phone call from Caesars offering me the job, but they said, "Hey, you gotta be here by the end of next week,
Oh,
or by the
wow.
end of this week." And I was like, "There's no way. I live in Florida. I have a life here. I can't literally be there by the end of next week."
Right.
And so I was a bit disappointed, but the seed had been planted about moving to Vegas. And so when Kahunaville happened at Treasure Island, just like literally like 2 months later, it was interesting because the owners of Kahunaville, David Tottleman and Mark Green, they
Right.
had a pretty good idea of who some of the top bartenders were at the time on the competing circuit, and they wanted rest in peace Ed Hibbert, and they wanted Ken Hall and Alan Mays, and they wanted Delpesh, but none of these people really wanted to go there because Delpesh just had said yes to Shadow Bar.
Right.
Hibbert was at the time happy in San Diego, and Ken was happy at Voodoo. So was Alan. So they then made a list of actually they didn't know who to make a list of who's next. So through flairbar.com, I guess, and through Aaron and I were a couple at the time, and so we had a fairly high profile on the competitive circuit because there weren't many
Right.
couples competing at that time. And I guess through the explosion of flarebar.com, which I started, um, they contacted me and they said, who are the next 10, who's the next 20 best in the world? Because we want them. So I started calling
Wow.
up friends and I called up Chico in Ohio and I
Chico
called up,
Garcia, lemon
yeah,
lime flare time.
that's it.
Wow.
And I
Looking
called
good
up
behind the work.
Macintosh and Atty and Sean Greco and Alcohol
All
Paul
right.
Ligonette and Sean Awana and Tony Cogburn. And I basically said to everyone, hey, let's go out there. And most of them came, and most of them are still here. So some 20 years later, which is crazy. So we
That's
opened up
great.
Kahunaville. That was a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
So let's step back a little bit to flarebar.com. You
Yeah.
mentioned that. Fill us in on that because I thought that was Rob's thing. I guess
Well, give
I
credit where credit's due. Like Rob
right.
just
So
basically took
tell us
something and
about that.
made it
Yeah.
so much bigger than it really was. So, Rob took what I started and turned it into something really beautiful and wonderful. So, hats off to Rob for doing that. But I actually started the website in England just before I moved to America 23 years ago,
Wow.
and um, I think there was Bar Magic, but it wasn't really a Flair website. It was a bit more all encompassing, but it did cover Flair, but it
That's
covered a lot of other
Tobin
things.
Ellis.
And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but it also just covered a lot of other things in bartending as well. And I wanted to have a print magazine, but it was just too expensive, so I decided to put together a website, and Flairbar.com was born. Um, but after I can't remember how long I was running it before I met Rob, and then Rob and I started working on it together because we both lived in Florida. We met through Isla Morada, Bartender's Bash, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so Rob got involved with the
Yep. It was,
website,
if
and then
memory recalls, it was about a year. If I said my memory recalls, it was about a year you were running it. And I just got into Flair bartending from watching you win Bartender's Bash in '99. So then the following year for Bartender's Bash was my second competition, and I wanted to do much better. So I remember emailing you through the website trying to get advice like, hey, I watched you win, any advice? And we were going back and forth. You gave me some great pointers. And then I ended up competing. And I think I had 24 bartenders. I placed third. So I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Like I felt legitimized. There's something going here. And I videotaped everything. And he came up to me like, well, what are you doing with all that footage? I'm like, I'm just recording this just so I can get better and practice with it. You go, well, why don't you write an article and a comp review for the magazine and we'll publish it. So that was the start. So it was about a year after you got involved with it and started it, when I got involved doing some articles and comp reviews. And between you, me, Aaron, and Jason, we just kept doing more and more and more. And then eventually you and I took it over. And then I got to share this story. You're talking about Vegas, and I instantly brought it up. Is the first time you and I went to Vegas was Legends 2, I want to say. And we all get to the Rio. We get to the rooms upstairs. And you're like, you were gone for an hour. We're like, where'd you go? Where'd you go? I don't know. You finally come back. You're all excited. Look, I won all this money. It was like $1,400. And my first time in Vegas, I'm like, how'd you do that? Like, gambling. I got this foolproof plan. I'm like, okay, let's go. Show me. Go down to the casino, and it was roulette. You're like, all right, this is the plan. It's genius because it's so simple. On the roulette wheel, they keep showing what numbers just hit, right? So after like 5 or 6 in a row of one color, you start the other color. And if you lose, you just double down. You got to win. So I'm like, that sounds so smart. So I did that, followed that plan. It didn't work so well for me as it did for you. I remember losing what cash on me. I remember going back to the bank account, draining my bank account, losing all that money, a $500 overdraft fee. Like, I had no money the first time I was in Vegas within the first 3 hours. And, like, thank God you guys were there to, like, buy me food and everything. And then I called my dad, and my dad, I need some money. And they were like, no. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we want you to learn from this. So it's because of that, like, I barely gamble now. But if I do, it's all entertainment. But it was such a cool story. Like, I'll never forget it.
well, in all fairness, you can't entirely blame me because just before I taught you that foolproof, bulletproof thing, Brentley Cobb had taught it to me half an hour before.
That's awesome.
And I
You
lost
need.
all my money that night.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
So,
Vegas.
so
Great
yeah,
memories, though. Great memories. Wouldn't trade it for
You're
the world.
lucky it
Vegas.
taught you early.
You know, it's funny.
Uh,
I lost all that money in Vegas then, and years later, I ended up living in Vegas. And there's a saying here: the quickest way to double your money is fold it in half and put it back in your wallet.
Aha,
Yeah.
very good. That's excellent. So, flarebar.com. Rob still runs flarebar.com, right?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I got bored of it, or I something else distracted me, and I said, "Hey, Rob, take over," and you were like, "Sure," and you ran with it. I don't even remember why I
You
stopped
you were
why
getting
I
pulled in
stopped.
different directions with a lot of video work. And I was doing the majority of the work at the time. And we were down at Bartender's Bash the 1 year when we put the hot tub on the balcony. And I remember that we almost got thrown out.
I remember
But it was
that.
that year.
That's a legendary
Another great
story.
story. And,
So,
and we were at the tiki bar, and you're like, what do you want to do with this? I'm like, I'm like, do you want to take it over? This and that. I'm like, yeah, I'll take it over. So we shook hands, we made the deal, and then you became this, which Dean's going to talk about more, this successful director in this whole industry now. And then I just took flarebar.com and kept running with that, and then evolved it eventually to bartendbetternow.com to encompass more bartending. But just really excited to see what you've done with it. And just, I got to say this, like, early on in my career for bartending, like, you were one of my early mentors, and I've learned so much from you. So I just want to say
Aw,
thank you from the bottom of my heart.
yeah, it's
thank
really
you.
special.
That's very sweet of you.
Yeah. So,
Thanks.
Deborah, you started flarebar.com in England long before you moved to Florida.
Not long before. I think it was just a few months before.
Okay.
But it was so long ago, I can hardly remember.
So you were
So,
already a flair bartender in England then.
yeah, because
Take us
I
back to
started.
there.
Yeah, I worked in the music industry. I was a professional musician for a long time. I started my career off as a studio engineer at the age of 15. And I then started a band. We got signed to a record label. We toured Europe.
When you were a
We had
teenager, you toured Europe as a teenager.
No, I think I was about, by the time I got to Europe, I think I was about 22, 21, something like that.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, my early, my late teens and early 20s were all like, electronic music and being a musician. And I moved away from that industry, and I was kind of a little bit lost. And I was working part-time at a local pub, and I used to get these
No,
I think I was about, by the time I got to Europe, I think I was about, are we okay? Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
So,
We're good.
so I would get the little Britvic bottles, like the bitter lemons in the pub, and I'd roll them down my arm, and I'd pop them and catch them and put them down on the bar top. And someone said, "Oh, you should go to TGI Fridays in South London. They do that there." And so I went in one day for just for a drink and to watch, and I was mesmerized by the bartenders. And I started speaking to them. It was the first time I really saw flair.
Right.
And so I started speaking to them, and they were like, "Oh, you should apply for a job here. We're looking for more bartenders." So while I was sitting at the bar, I applied for a job on the application form. And then about 30 minutes later, while I'm sitting at the bar, the manager was like, "Oh, I can interview you now if you like." And I was like, "Sure." So I had an interview, then I was sitting at the bar for another 30 minutes after the interview, then they told me I had the job. So I just went in for a drink, and like some 4 hours later or something, I had a job at TGI Fridays. And that
That's
was
awesome.
really the start of my career as a bartender, as a
Right.
flair.
But you were doing flair before that. You were doing flair before you started flipping
Before I
at
really knew
Fridays,
what it
right?
was, yeah, before I even knew it
Right.
had a name. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If anybody's watching on YouTube right now, you can make comments on YouTube and we can see them live on the screen here and perhaps bring you into the screen. If you have any questions for Deborah or ourselves, put a little Q before your question, Q and then your question, and maybe we can get to your questions live. So, Deborah, you traveled Europe. You told me a story, or us a story, Rob and I a story, that you traveled as a bartending competition into Dubai or something.
Yeah, that was at a bar called Scruples. I don't even remember when it was. It was a while back, but Smirnoff Vodka paid, I think, $8,000 for me to compete at Scruples. They paid
Wow.
my airfare, which was like 6,000, and they paid my hotel and paid for everything. And technically, I was the first bartender from America. Well, I was the first bartender to ever represent America in a Middle Eastern competition, which was ironic because I'm not even American. Um, and it was just amazing that Smirnoff paid that much money. I do remember after the competition that there was a lot of celebrating because there was a lot of bartenders from around the world who were eager to celebrate after the competition. And the next day, there was a knock at my hotel room door that I woke up to, and I completely missed my flight. And because it's so far away and it takes a few days to get back, it really took a long. It took me like 4 days to get back to America because I completely missed all my connecting flights.
Took you 4 days to get back there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's fun.
So that's what a
Um,
hangover can do in the
That's
right.
what
wrong
the
time.
joke of bartender time.
Right, bartender time. I like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, there's definitely been because I used to when I was a bartender, I used to drink a lot, and so there were many times when I missed flights or yeah, I just couldn't make it back to work in time. And competed a lot. I mean, I know some people now just compete continuously, but back at the time, it was really at the kind of dawn of global flair competing, right? Because of the
Right.
internet.
Everybody was trying to do it. Like you were saying, the bars in Vegas are all copying each other. So many bars were running flair bartending competitions around the world
What
at that
what
time.
not just that, but we had access to find out where they were because we had the
Yeah.
internet. Because like prior to you know that time period, it was really hard to find out about. You would always find out about competitions after they had happened. You
Right,
know,
right, because that's when
um,
the promo went out. Yeah,
right?
I
So
used to
so
call the bars that I knew had competitions. I would call them every 2 or 3 months and then say, "When's your next event? When's your next event?" And make sure that I
right.
got involved until I started running my own in the '90s. So
So back in the day when I was competing, I think I competed like 50 times in 5 countries, which at the time was a chunk.
yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of competition even now. Back in that day.
Yeah.
Competition month, always practicing.
Excuse me.
Say that again, Rob.
I was saying that it seemed like there was competitions all the time. Every month we were competing, and we were always practicing in the backyard. So there was always competitions to go to, whether it was in your state or your else.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my prime as a competing flair bartender, I would practice. I mean, if other flair bartenders are listening, then you guys all know that it's just a lot of practicing, right? But I remember that in the run up to something like Legends, like in the 2 weeks before Legends, I'd be practicing about 8 hours a day. And in the 2 months before Legends, I was practicing 4 hours a day. So
Yeah.
it was just my world was flair, and my kitchen used to look like Rob's kitchen with all the bottles. I
With a
remember
wall of
Erin and I,
booze.
yeah, Erin and I had an apartment in Florida, and our first apartment, all the furniture was inflatable, and it was all like Budweiser chairs and Miller Lite chairs and the
Right.
Smirnoff table, inflatable table, and the kitchen was a makeshift bar with all this liquor, and
Right.
that was
It's
our
probably a
life.
Flair
That
Co
was
bar.
our
Um, and that's
Yeah,
Aaron
Flair.
Connolly, right? Who's still a famous flair bartender out here in
It was
Vegas,
before the
correct?
football bar.
Yeah, Flair and Aaron Conley.
Yeah, yeah. She competed a lot as well, so she was one of the first recognized female flair bartenders. So that's pretty cool. Um, so you brought a team out here to join Kahunaville, right?
I did, and I don't know. Maybe some people that are watching or listening never got the chance to go to Coonaville in Las Vegas, but
Right,
it was a fun, fun bar. It was a kind of tropical vibe, a four-sided bar. We'd have on the busy shifts, we'd have one bartender on the front working point, two on the sides on each side, and then one in the back in the service well. And we would have to do these kind of flash showcases And we would do them like when we first opened, we were doing them like every hour on the hour, where
And
all
how
six
long were the
bars,
showcases?
like 10, 15 minutes. And
Wow.
like all five bartenders on the front facing sides of the bar would put on a show, and it would culminate with us doing multi pours and standing on the bar and giving out shots. And we'd pour like Bacardi 151 in the peanut rail, and we'd set it on fire and give out marshmallows. And it was just wild, and it was dangerous as hell because
Right.
we used to be really busy, and like when we were rocking, we were like three deep. And so we're knocking out these drinks, churning out these drinks, taking like multiple orders from like, five groups at a time. And, these are like world class, amazing bartenders at the top of their game. And we're cranking it out. And then we have to stop everything we're doing and throw bottles like these racehorses,
Right.
and go back serving and then
To
suddenly do it
music,
again.
to a routine that you'd all been practicing,
To the
right?
flashing lights, to the slippery, everything's wet, everything's chaotic.
So tell us
And
about the time that you woke up in the ambulance.
so we're doing one of these showcases, and I'm standing on top of the bar, and I'm handing out shots at the end of the showcase. And I go to get off the bar, and I put my foot down onto what I thought was the stainless, but it was just the ice well. And I just remember my foot going and me pulling back. And the next thing I know, I woke up in an ambulance, and someone saying, "Do you know what your name is? Do you know what day it is? Do you know who the president is?" All these kinds of cognitive questions. And apparently, what had happened is I fell backwards about 6 feet and hit the back of my head on a stainless steel reaching cooler. And the sound was so loud, apparently, that everyone in Kahunaville just went silent. And I mean, I wasn't, conscious for that, but I was told afterwards, the whole place just went hush. You could hear a pin drop. And yeah, they took me to the hospital, and I was very scared. And they
Right.
stapled up my head with 11 staples. And the only side effect is now I can see into the future.
You could. Oh, I'd like to see into the future too.
I see a
My,
drink in my future. Oh, oh, oh.
my only flare stitches in the head. I've had stitches in just about every other part of my body thanks to flare. But I had a cowbell fall on my head.
Oh my gosh, we need more cowbell.
Yeah, yeah. Just a little more cowbell. There was a cowbell above, and we used to smack the cowbell whenever we got a nice tip or whatever. And I guess it had loosened over time, and I happened to be standing under it when another guy was doing his routine, and the cowbell fell on my head. That's my glamorous story. Woohoo! So
Did you leave a mark?
I think there's a you can probably see a scar now that I'm all high and tight. Um,
There's a little dent on the back of my head. In fact, there's a pretty gruesome picture of my injury on the FBA website in their gallery.
wow, I'd
Yeah, it
like to
was pretty
check that
gnarly.
out. That's me over here. Let's see if I can get Rob over on this camera here. Boom, there he is. All
There he
right,
is.
you're
Cheers,
back.
guys. This is official.
Hey,
Yeah, cheers to you.
sure.
Oh, I like how you did that. My camera's too far away.
See,
Yeah,
see,
I switched the
that's the
a little bit of
that's the
reception.
filmmaker
Right,
in me.
cut out.
yeah, good stuff. So you can see into the future, huh, Deborah?
I can a little.
What do you see in your future now?
Well, as you know, now I'm a film director,
Correct.
and
Correct.
uh, well, I mean,
Tell us a bit about that. Tell us about the transition between bartender and into film and stuff, so we can
sure, sure,
be
sure.
caught up. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of
Yeah.
it.
So, yeah, I've always been playing with pixels my whole life, obviously, flowbar.com, but even before that, as a digital musician, I was there at the beginning of the digital music revolution. I got my first video camera in like 1980. So I've always been into technology and futurism. And back in the day, my nickname used to be Barcode because, I like technology. I'm a geek at heart. And
Right.
so I've always been playing with Photoshop and websites and cameras and all that good stuff. So after Kahunaville, when I left there, I became the head trainer at the Rio and I was in charge of all the bartenders and bars at the Rio for the Flair program. And I was there a short time because Mike Tang and I opened up our own Flair bar called the Red Room. And at the time, we couldn't afford to pay anyone to do marketing materials. So I started doing the photography and the videography and the flyers and all that stuff. And so that kind of led to, it's interesting because Flair is the extension of being super comfortable in discipline, right? Like
Right.
Tiger Woods can hit the ball. He's hit the ball so many times that one day he picks up the golf club and starts bouncing the ball off the golf club, right? And that's kind of like the basis of Flair. You grab a bottle out of the speed rail so many times, eventually you just pop it up, throw it, and catch it and go pour, right? And it was kind of the same thing with my digital skill set, that I was just flexing my digital skill set and I want to start
Right.
making some movies. And so I started making some shorts. Then my friend, another flair bartender, Oscar Perez, who created LatinBar.net, he was also kind of on a similar path, and he was already playing around with some video and stuff. And he suggested to me that I go to film school. So I
Okay.
went to the College of Southern Nevada and I went into the film program and I started excelling. And while I was in film school, I made a short called Boy Meets Girl, and that won 4 Emmys.
You
And
won
that,
4 Emmys.
yeah. I won Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Editing, and Best Short in 2016.
Wow.
And
Congratulations. That's a great big deal.
thanks. I like to joke about it. I got more Emmys than Ellen. So anyways, that launched my freelance career, and I've been freelancing as a writer, director, and editor ever since. Since then, I've directed about 100 national TV commercials.
Wow.
I like last year, my career blew up. I worked with Lizzo, Green Day, Billie Eilish. This year, I've worked with Slipknot, Will Smith. Um, oh my God, Harry Styles. I just nearly forgot his name. So I worked with a lot of artists. Last year, I had a short film come out called Dark Lights that got 45 honors at film festivals around the world last year, and it just
45 honors, and that's all the different film festivals put together, I guess, right?
yeah, and then it just came out as part of a feature anthology called The United States of Horror on Tubi.com, and it's narrated by Pinhead from Hellraiser. So if you go to
He's my favorite.
Yay, Doug Bradley, he's cool. So if you go to
Yeah.
Tubi.com and search The United States of Horror, you don't even need an account. It's completely free. And the very, very first short film in that is my short, Dark Lights. And because of the success of that, I won a full scholarship to Sundance Collab, where I got to workshop my first feature film last year, Move Me No Mountain.
Right.
And I got to workshop it through the Sundance 9-week directorial workshop and raised the money. It was a small independent film, $200,000 budget, and we shot it in August or September. It's now in post, and it comes out this summer in limited theatrical release in select cities. So I'm very excited. I was the writer, director, DP, and editor. So I was channeling Kubrick on his first movie, and
Wow.
it's my first big movie, and it comes out this summer. So I'm very excited.
That's congratulations. Where does it come out? Where when you say it comes out, is it in like big theaters? And can I see it in New Albany,
Yeah,
Indiana?
well, it depends. Probably main cities, limited theatrical release in major cities. So it'll be like,
Okay.
you know, it'll be LA, New York, obviously
Chicago.
Vegas, home
Yeah.
turf, Chicago, like Houston, all the big cities. It'll have a limited theatrical release. So it's very exciting.
How excited are you to buy a ticket for your own movie and watch it in Las Vegas?
That's gonna be.
I doubt I'll be buying the ticket, but I will be there.
I would. I'd be putting the $15 down to have a ticket stub of my own movie. That would
I,
Oh
be
man,
awesome.
I have sweated blood and tears for this. I'm not paying a cent. I write waltz in there like I own the place and claim my seat. Um,
Sign it.
but that being said, I probably will actually pay it for a ticket just because 10% of the proceeds of our movie are going to 4 local charities. that impact those most at risk in my community of Las Vegas, because the movie at the core of the subject matter deals with the unsheltered and the homeless problem in modern urban America. So,
Wow.
Oh,
So what? Where could we donate to those charities?
well, those charities are you can look them up online. They are Shine a
Yeah.
Light Foundation, Las Vegas Rescue Mission. I'm blanking on the other two right now. I have
Sorry to
the,
put you on the
the,
spot like that. I'm
the,
sorry.
the other two are FamilyPromiseLV.com, and the fourth one is Nevada Alliance for Homeless Youth. So those are the
Wow.
four charities that we're supporting. But we hope you come watch the movie. And if you want to know how you can support and how you can see the movie, if you go to movemenomountain.com, you can watch a little 15-second teaser trailer of the movie,
All right.
and you pop in your email, and you'll be notified of advanced screenings and red carpet opportunities.
That's pretty excellent. Congratulations on that. Congratulations. So
Very
I
much.
can't wait to
It's
see some
amazing.
more of your work.
You know what's crazy is last year was a lot of level up momentum in my career. I had an
Right.
amazing year. But what
Momentum's
people
important.
don't realize is that it was like 15 years of no's before last year that was all building up, right? Because I've been playing, like I said, with pixels for a long time, and I've been freelancing. I've been freelancing as editor for 15 years, and then probably as a writer director about 10 years. So it's a lot of no's to get to the yeses.
Right.
So, but it feels good.
You got to stick with it, don't you?
yeah, all that
Yeah,
hard work,
absolutely.
killing it.
Thank you. It feels good. I finally have an assistant and a manager and a team and legal representation and the whole shebang. And so the big question now is, what's she gonna do next?
Hmm.
Oh, well, I really, I love a good segue as much as I like a good glass of wine. So,
Should I
um,
drop the news? Are we there? Shall I drop the news? We're there, right?
well, I was just going to go back to 2 or 3 weeks ago when the three of us had our initial call. We were just chit chatting. We started putting our ideas together about potentially having Deborah Richards put something together on paper that had a little bit to do with her past in the world of flair bartending. That's as much as I'm going to say. I'm going to let you, Miss Richards, deliver the rest of the news.
Well,
Dun, dun.
for those of you who don't know that are watching, okay, so I have a lot of history with Rob and Dean, and when we touched base a couple weeks ago, it was very, very emotional because I hadn't seen these guys literally in years and years and years. And we've collectively been friends for like 20 years or something crazy. So it was really emotional, and it was a lot of catching up, and we were talking about the past and a lot of stuff, and how we were really there at a super important moment in time in Flair history, because it felt like Cocktail had come out, it had influenced the generation that we were part of. We
Yeah,
all flipped bottles like crazy.
like
Competitions blew up. Legends of
cocktail.
bartending was the thing, and it just blew up. And we were there. We were there. And I was saying to these cats, like if anyone's going to tell the story of Flair in a cinematic forum, it's us, because
Right,
I'm a film director now and producer, and I have a platform and the experience to produce a movie, and I
right.
have a little experience in flair, and these guys have a massive amount of influence in the world of bartending and are legends in their own right to this day, and continue to be market disruptors and market leaders in that industry. And so I said, hey, why don't we make a documentary about flair bartending? And these guys are
Right.
like, tell us more. And so I was like,
For
well,
more.
let's,
Yeah.
let's talk about this. And so we got talking about it. And the end result is this. So I'm really, really pleased to make a massive announcement. I always said I wouldn't make a documentary in my career, but as Stanley Kubrick once said, your films pick you, you don't pick your films. And I feel the subject matter has picked me and us. And I'm very proud to announce that the three of us, in conjunction with my long term collaborator, Emmy nominated producer Patrick Watts, the four of us have formed a fellowship of the 10. See what I did there? And we are going to make a flair documentary called Shaken and Stirred, the story of flair bartending. It's going to talk about the rise and fall and resurgence of flair bartending as a art, as a sport. It's called Shaken and Stirred, and we are shooting this year, and we are going to pick three lucky bartenders who we are going to follow as they prepare for Rob's competition in Palm Beach in September, correct? It is September,
September.
right?
Yep, September.
And the name of that competition is?
We were going to do the cocktail art challenge, but I think it's more fitting we bring back the Flair Bartenders Shakedown, and we shake down to find out who is the overall bartending champion.
Yeah,
Nice.
right.
So what we're going to do in this Flair documentary is we're going to interview tons of Flair bartenders who have been influential from the beginning of Flair to now from around the world, and we're going to showcase their skills in a really cinematic way. But we're also going to intercut that footage and follow three bartenders as they prepare to compete at the Bartender Shakedown. And we are going to pay for their entry fee, we're going to pay for their airfare, and we're going to pay for their hotel to compete in that competition. So if you have any interest in either taking advantage of that and being one of the featured bartenders, or if you just want to be interviewed for the film, or if you just want to be on our mailing list so that you know when and where you can watch this film, please go to flairdocumentary.com and put in your email. Just put in your email there, and then we'll be reaching out and we'll let you know about all the opportunities to either be a part of this movie, either featured as a interviewee or as one of the featured bartenders that we're going to follow and revisit a couple times along the way as you prepare to get your competition on in September. And the shooting of this movie starts in June this year, which is just around the corner if you think about it. So go ahead and put your email in. And Shaken and Stirred is the name of the movie. Shaken and Stirred, themovie.com or flairdocumentary.com will get you there. And this is going to be the first ever Flair bartending movie that isn't Cocktail or Coyote Ugly.
Flair bartending movie.
It's the first ever Flair documentary, which I think is amazing. And we're doing it, and I'm so excited to take this journey with you two. I'm humbled. I think it's about time we showcase the legends of bartenders from all around the world, because all these bartenders are legends in their own right. And I don't
Right.
feel that these amazing Flair bartenders, amazing artists, ever really got their fair shake in the spotlight that they deserved. And
Right.
so we're going to not only tell the story of the history, but we're also going to tell the story of these legendary flair bartenders, and we're going to highlight them, and we're also going to show the audience why it's such an exciting art, sport, discipline, whatever. And we're going to explore all of that and unpack all of that.
Right.
Is it a sport? Is it an art? Is it a discipline? And where's it going? And why is it becoming so relevant in today's age in the restaurant and bar industry? And
Right.
so I'm excited. So you heard it here first. News breaking. My next
Right.
movie, Deborah
Breaking
Bush's
news.
Emmy winner. Next movie, Shaken and Stirred, the documentary, produced by Patrick Wirtz, co-produced by Dean Niels and Rob Husted, and starring Dean Niels and Rob Husted.
Oh,
So,
stop.
so please get involved, put your emails in, because we want to hear from you and we want to feature you and we want to give you your time in the spotlight that you deserve on the global stage in this exciting new movie. How did
So
you?
we want lots of people to go put their emails in there, regardless of whether or not they want to be in the film. We also want them to just put their emails on there to say that they'd be interested in watching the film, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you have any interest in flair bartending, seriously, give us your email, because that will help us reach the widest possible audience. And the more emails we have, when we go to distribute this movie, it's a bargaining chip for us, and it means ultimately this movie will get more exposure. So we want this movie on Netflix. We want this movie on all the streaming platforms around the world. But we need your help. So
Yep.
please put your email in. Let's celebrate with a drink. We're making the first Flair documentary ever with these
There it
incredibly
is.
talented men.
Cheers.
Thank you for the honor. I'm humbled. This is going to
We
be
are
amazing.
humbled to be working with you. Thank you.
And if you want to see the movie happen, don't be afraid to share that link and invite as many of your bartending friends or people that want to see the movie to put their email address in, and let's get this movie made. I am so pumped because today, literally, right before we started this, an hour and a half before we did, I was at my dad's house clearing out all that Flair footage that we have from mini DV to large VHS to small VHS, and it's just boxes and boxes of footage to go through. But going through it, and thank God half of it's labeled. It was so exciting just to see some of the labels and some of the stuff that we did. Like, we got a great story, and we all have different perspectives on it, and it's gonna really be an amazing documentary. And I'm so excited to be doing it with the people we're doing it with.
Likewise, I can't wait. And yeah, I mean, it's a little overwhelming right now because I'm still trying to finish up my last movie and there's so many projects in my world going on. But I mean, it's all about the team, right? Teamwork makes the dream work, and we have an amazing team, and it's a story that needs to be told. And what's interesting is when I talk to civilians about, hey, I'm going to make a Flair bartending documentary,
Civilians. I love that.
a lot of them say, oh, what's Flair bartending? And I'm like, this is the reason there needs to be a documentary.
Right. We
That's
used to
just
sell out, like, I don't know if we sold out, but we had giant clubs in Las Vegas, you know?
we used to sell. Legends used to be 3,000 people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3,000. The giant, full auditoriums where we had the bars set up on the stages and people working backstage, like behind or on the stage behind the curtains. I remember being there with Tony Cogburn. He had blue makeup on. He was going to do Blue Man.
I remember that.
When Mark Zickman and I turned around and we were already Blue Men, so he took off his Blue Man costume and had to completely redo his routine because he didn't want to ruin ours because we were two Blue Men, which is too bad.
Did either of you guys make Legends finals?
Yes.
Yeah. I was in Legends Finals as a tandem routine.
And how
2005
about you?
finals.
What position did you get in the?
Qualified in second, finished in
Nice.
11th.
Oh,
Nice.
And
I
because I
made
had no
Legends.
expectations to make the finals, so qualifying was like 4 minutes, finals was 5 minutes. So all of a sudden I did it, and I was like, I have a minute to fill, and I had 24 hours to fill a minute in a world bartending final. So it hurt me a little bit, but I was just happy to be.
I made
Called time.
finals 3 times. I made finals at Legends, so that was
Good for you.
I was pretty proud of that.
That's no joke, man. Making finals at Legends was no joke because I remember.
Even qualifying was no joke. Because back when as I recall, it would be like 70 or 80 competitors,
Right.
and 30 would qualify, and then 10 would make finals or something. Am I right in those, or am I?
It's about there. Yeah, there was close to 80 competitors, and there was speed rounds and pour tests and drink rounds. It was absolutely every single discipline of bartending was tested before you got to go on the big show and put all your Flair skills out to the
Yep.
audience.
And just to
It
even
was
get to qualifying, it was invitation only. Just to get invited to finals or to the Legends.
right, right. My highest placing was third place, which was pretty cool. I think Ed Hibbert beat me and Kristen Delpish won.
Right.
Two good people to, go right behind. So that's perfect.
Right. Ed Hibbert, the
Yeah.
vice president.
Deuce.
He never won. He was always the second place. God bless his soul. Yeah, what an amazing talent he was. I took second and third in tandem. My best routine was King of the Ring, where I came in 10th in the finals of King of the Ring. So that was
I was just that's amazing. Yeah, I was just thinking maybe we should dedicate the movie to some of the bartenders that we've lost along the way.
we should certainly do that. We should certainly do that. Take a moment to say goodbye to them. That would be extra special for sure.
Let's have a drink to
Yeah,
those
cheers
legends
to that.
along the way.
Yeah.
I remember 7th one year at Legends, and then as soon and those that don't know, I would go to Deborah's 2 weeks in Vegas before the competition because she had the amazing practice bar outside. We'd practice speed, not flare, and she'd go to work, and I would just nonstop practice the whole time I was there. And then so when you won, you came back. You were so excited. You're like, "Get me some food." So I was stopping by McDonald's. I'm like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I don't care. Whatever number 7 is." And it's like little things like that. I remember it was just amazing. But the fact that you were so giving and opened up your house and like how many people you affected training, like Robin Clausen and Tony Cogburn and so many other people who come by and train, like. And the fact that we were all competing against each other, right, for all this prize money and fame, but it wasn't like that. We were a team. We were all there to help each other out. If we watched each other's move and like, hey, why don't you try this? And we'd be there to first a bar back on stage for each other and be there to like push each other. And it was one big Flair family. And it's so cliche to say, but it was so true for back in that time. Like Flair, we were a family, and we all wanted this to be better for all of us. And it's great to bring that back and tell that on the big screen.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into all the minutiae of that story because at some point that died off and the competitions dwindled. And I can't wait to get the perspective from all the people that were there
Right.
and all the new blood. And that's the point because the new blood is the future, right? So the new blood is who we're going to be following and who we're going to pay for to compete at your competition. And I'm so excited that we're going to give that opportunity to 3 bartenders. We're going to pay for their entry, pay for their hotel, and pay for their airfare. And we're going to follow them for a few months as part of the documentary as they prepare for that competition. And the really exciting thing about a documentary is you never really know where it's going to go, right? Because, I mean, as awful as it sounds, as documentarian, you hope someone chops off a finger or something terrible happens or I'm kidding, of course, but I mean.
Right, but you want something dramatic to happen to kind of lead the story and allow the story to evolve, right?
Life is dramatic. Life happens, right? Life has all these twists and turns. Good things happen slow, bad things happen fast. And so we don't have a crystal ball. We can't tell what's going to happen. So it's just going to be so exciting to follow these Flair bartenders, this new blood in the industry, and see how their story unfolds and culminates with this big competition in Palm Beach organized by Rob. And so it's very exciting to me.
Yeah, I'm very, very much looking forward to it. So,
cheers again.
Cheers to you guys.
I got
One drink with.
You want to hear a couple good toasts? I got a couple really good toasts.
Absolutely. What a great way to bring us down here. Okay. Or not bring us down, but bring us to an end.
May you be in heaven half an hour before the devil knows you're dead. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Here's to lying, stealing, and cheating. Lying to save a friend, stealing someone's heart, and cheating death. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's a good one.
Can't not drink.
That's all I got. It's been too long. I used to have tons of these. I used to have so many that I could work the whole
I used
shift.
to be able to sit and do bar tricks all night and do magic tricks all night. I can't remember any of it now.
The only one I can still remember is this. Most dangerous trick I know.
We'll have to feature that on the next episode of One Drink with Deborah Richards.
I'm telling how it's done. It's all tricks and smoke and mirrors.
So we start shooting in June, right?
Yeah, officially we start shooting in June, and lots of exciting stuff. And keep checking back with the website because it'll be changing very rapidly over the next couple of weeks with announcements. And I'm also very excited to announce that we're going to do an NFT drop of a deck of playing cards, of 52 cards. There'll be trading cards of different bartenders. And so you can buy each individual card and trade them, or you can, sell them or collect them or whatever you want to do. But there's going to be and when you buy these NFT cards, the trading cards, it'll get you free screenings to the movie and other goodies. So lots of exciting things in the pipeline with this movie.
That's great. One last time, let's go to the website and tell us about what's going on here, Deborah.
So just a really simple website, flairdocumentary.com or Shaken and Stirred, themovie.com. If you want to know more about this movie, put your email in. If you want to be in the movie, put your email in. If you want an opportunity to get free entry, free airfare, and free hotel to Rob's competition in Palm Beach in September, put your email in. If you just want to support us and when it's out, incidentally, it'll be out in summertime next year, 2023. But if you want advance notification about screenings if you want to know anything about this movie or be involved in any way, shape, or form, please put in your email so we know who you are and we can reach out and let's get this done. It's going to be an amazing documentary, the first ever Flair documentary in the world ever. Shaken and stirred.
It's shaken and stirred. Shakenandstirred.com. Please go there and get involved.
Shakenandstirredthemovie.com.
Oh, shakenandstirredthemovie.com.
Or if that's too much to remember for your little bartender brain, flairdocumentary.com. Just kidding.
Flairdocumentary.com. That should be easier for my little bartender brain.
My little bartender brain.
Yeah, it's taking a beating all the time.
Too many of these.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to wrap up here. I am on the last sip of my glass of wine, which signifies that I have had one drink with Deborah Richards. You guys want to take us out?
Let Deborah do it. This is her show.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, guys. You've been watching the Cocktail Network Live with Dean Sneals and Rob Husted. Please, if you like the show, like and subscribe. Make sure you go to flairdocumentary.com. Very excited about the movie. Incredibly blessed, humbled, and honored to share space with these legends here. And thank you for watching. And next time you're in Vegas, let me know and let's go grab a drink.
You got it. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. And I can't wait to work with you all for the rest of this year. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be an exciting journey in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Cheers,
all right.
guys.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.